driving you this week?
Well, we got the royal wedding in the news, which is maybe we could have other things in the news, like things that really matter more than the royal wedding. The one conversation I had this morning is an area where we think we could see more attention, and that's thinking about the costs of the financial crisis in 2007, 2009. It was asserted to me this morning that in fact the government's bailouts effectively paid for themselves because the loans were all repaid with interest. And that's one way to think about it. However, the indirect and unaccounted for costs, I think, are a lot more important. And two examples of those understated costs are in the news this today and will be increasingly in the news in the year ahead. The Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation is a federal government corporation that it guarantees the pensions for over 1 million people in outside of government pensions. There's also private sector pensions for multi-employer plans that have over 1 million members that are backed up by this Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. And that puppy doesn't look so good. In fact, it looks highly insolvent. And the cost of resolving that program and making good on these pension promises, as taxpayers, you and I are exposed to that cost. And one way in which this is related to the financial crisis is that the people arguing for a bailout for the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation point immediately to the bailouts in the financial crisis, saying if you're going to bail out Wall Street, why can't you bail out workers? That's a broader concept of indirect costs that unfortunately we're going to be dealing with in the next few months. A related area are the one interesting question or trivia question for you. What do you think the fastest growing asset and biggest asset on the federal government's balance sheet is? It's student loans. And in fact, the dollar amounts are massive. And historically, our government has assumed that they're going to be profitable for the government until last year, when for the first time ever, those assumptions finally turned into a cost, not a profit for the government. And even those current expectations, I believe, may be overstated. And that's related to the financial crisis in part because the student loans began accelerating and rising rapidly during the financial crisis as a means for ameliorating the consequences for young people. And in the long run, we're going to pay a price for that. And these are two ways in which the financial crisis costs us money, and in ways that weren't in the official costs for the financial crisis. Cheers. Have a nice weekend.